Hawaii Kai waterfront home. Can you picture yourself on this private lanai with this waterfront view? Welcome to Anchorage, a waterfront neighborhood in Hawaii Kai, here on Oahu. The marina running behind every backyard? That used to be a Hawaiian fish pond called Quapa. Henry Kaiser dredged it out in the early 1960s. He turned it into one of the true boat from your backyard communities on the island. You saw the townhome side of this same marina earlier this week in the West Marina Gateway Peninsula video. Anchorage is the detached single family side, about 150 homes in the whole community. Two on the market right now, one is already under contract. So the 4 bedroom, 3 bath, fully renovated home you're walking into is the only marina-front home in Anchorage you can actually tour today. I'm Oksana with Island Living Oahu, and the data on this community says nothing has changed hands here in 24 months. If you stick with me through this video, I am not just going to walk you through the rooms and point out the features. I am going to give you the actual market data on Anchorage, the 5-year sales history, the trends, what buyers and sellers are doing here. So by the end of this tour, you will understand this neighborhood at a level most buyers on the island do not. And there is one number in particular about Anchorage that actually stopped me when I pulled the data this morning. I will get to it in a few minutes. Here is the tease for now. In Anchorage, the entire year of 2025 looked like absolutely nothing happened. We will come back to that. Walking inside, the first thing the camera cannot quite capture is how the home actually opens up. Vaulted ceilings, wide plank flooring. This is one of those layouts where you stop seeing the rooms as separate boxes and start reading the whole first level as one connected space. The kitchen island is doing a real amount of work, with extra storage on the backside, double cabinet runs, and enough counter to actually host a meal prep and a conversation at the same time. The fridge is oversized, which matters more than people think on this island, because grocery runs in Hawaii Kai are a real thing. You shop for the week, you fit a week. Now, here is where I want to do something a little different on this channel. Normally, I open up the MLS data for the neighborhood, pull the InfoSparks rolling windows, and compare what is happening in this specific neighborhood to the rest of the island. But Anchorage is so quiet, so thinly traded, that the standard playbook simply does not work. Closed sales in this neighborhood over the last 12 months, 0. Closed sales over the last 24 months, also 0. The last time something actually changed hands here was February of 2024. So in a neighborhood like this, we have to expand the lens. And before I get into how I rebuilt the data for this video, real quick, if this is the kind of analysis you want on an Oahu neighborhood before you buy or before you list, hit subscribe. That is the easiest way to make sure these tours keep showing up for you. If you saw my video earlier this week on the West Marina townhome at Gateway Peninsula, that was a fully furnished 3-bedroom waterfront unit with the seller including the boat in the sale and paying a full year of maintenance fees at closing, listed at $1.35 million. Go check that one out on the channel, because the contrast with the single family home you're inside right now is the entire conversation about waterfront ownership in Hawaii Kai. Same direct ocean access, completely different ownership structure, completely different price band. Back to this home. The lot here is just under 7,600 square feet. The zoning is R7.5, which is the standard single-family residential designation across most of Hawaii Kai. In plain terms, R7.5 sets a minimum lot size of 7,500 square feet per home and caps what you can build relative to the lot. It protects the feel of the neighborhood. You're not going to wake up to a 6-unit complex going up next door, and that matters in a community where the inventory is this scarce. Same goes for the land tenure on this listing. Fee simple, which means the buyer owns the land outright. No leasehold expiration, no land rent to worry about. That is the simplest, cleanest ownership structure in Hawaii real estate. There is the garage plus 3 additional driveway spots. Useful on a waterfront home, because if you bring a boat trailer through or you host friends for sunset, you have the room without somebody parking down the street. And speaking of sunset, Take a look at this view. Marina out front, mountains in the backdrop, and the kind of open sightline that catches both sunrise and sunset light over the course of a single day. The MLS sheet ticks multiple view categories on this home, and standing here, you understand why. This home has 2 primary suites. Each one comes with its own beautifully finished bath and direct outdoor access. That layout opens up real flexibility. A long-term guest stay, a private office wing that doubles as a suite, the freedom to host without anyone bumping into each other in the hallway at 6 in the morning. Either suite can be fully closed off without affecting the other side of the house. Dual primaries in a single-story floor plan is rare and quietly valuable at resale. So let me come back to the data because this is where the story actually lives. Anchorage is a small marina community of roughly 150 to 160 single-family homes total. In the last 5 years, only about 10 properties have actually closed through the MLS 10. That is about 2 sales a year on average in a neighborhood where prices routinely cross $2 and $3 million. So when I tell you there are no sales in the last 24 months, that is not necessarily a bad sign for the neighborhood. That is Anchorage being Anchorage. People do not leave easily. Here is what the 5-year picture looks like when you actually walk through it. 2021 brought 3 closed sales in this neighborhood. One of them was a complete teardown, sold cash for $1.5 million. That is what raw dirt with marina access costs in this neighborhood. Another closed at $1.7 million, the third at $2.27 million. 2022 brought 2 sales, one just under $1.9 million on a non-waterfront lot, the other at $3.35 million on a fully renovated 5-bedroom on the largest lot in the dataset. 2023 was actually the busiest year, with 4 closed sales ranging from about $2.5 million up to roughly $3.5 million. The upper end of that range was a fully reimagined 5-bedroom on the marina that needed a price adjustment to find its buyer. 2024 brought just 1 sale, a non-waterfront 3-bedroom at $1.64 million. And then 2025, all the way through today. May of 2026, 0 closed sales. Over 2 years of complete silence in this neighborhood. For context, across the entire MLS island-wide, the most recent reporting month showed a median sale price around $1.1 million, up roughly 3% year over year, with about 3,100 homes closing in a trailing 12-month window. Anchorage closed 0 in that same window. That gap is the story. The neighborhood is not down, it is just on pause. Inventory simply does not exist, and when it does, it tends to command a multiple of the island-wide median. Marina-front comps in this neighborhood have traded between roughly $900 and $1,500 a square foot over the last several years, while the rest of the island sits closer to $700. The ceilings are vaulted, which is part of why this home reads bigger than its 2,150 square feet of living space. Your eye keeps moving up, and the volume changes the whole sense of scale. The air conditioning is split, which means each zone of the home is climate-controlled independently. That is practical on a waterfront property because the front of the house and the back of the house can sit at very different temperatures depending on which way the trades are blowing. The structured, warm, cement look finish on the accent walls is a 2026 design move that has been showing up on a lot of the higher-end renovations on the island this year. It pulls in natural texture without going overboard, and that kind of finish does not photograph well. It really has to be seen in person. While we are walking through this part of the home, here is a quick way to read a renovation when you're buying on Oahu. The cosmetic stuff catches the eye first. The quartz, the cabinetry, the sliders. Those are the easy upgrades. What you actually want to look for is the bones underneath. Electrical work brought up to current code. New plumbing rough-ins. Insulation that did not exist in the original build. The systems behind the walls are what separate a serious renovation from a paint and stage. On a 2026 renovation at this price point, those are the things to ask the seller for documentation on. Permits pulled, scope of work, what was rebuilt versus what was finished. The space the MLS lists as a den or study has a window, no closet, and barn doors that close from both sides. Functionally, though, this is a flexible bonus space. Workspace, hobby room, library, whatever the household actually needs. The barn doors give you sound and visual separation without eating into the floor space. Ceiling fans throughout the home, which sounds like a small spec sheet detail but actually matters on a waterfront property. Even with split AC, you want the air moving. The marina humidity sits differently when you keep a soft current going through the space. Ceiling fans plus split AC plus those Western systems pocket sliders together means you can run this home with the doors open for most of the year and barely touch the air conditioning. That is a real cost of living difference compounded over the life of ownership. The primary suite is truly spacious. What looks like a California king sits with room to breathe on every side. Direct outdoor access from this suite, which means the marina is the first thing you see in the morning and the last thing you see at night. And one thing the camera cannot pick up, the suite actually smells incredible. Whoever is handling the staging on this home is paying attention to the layers most listings do not bother with. And it lands. While we are in this suite, one observation about single-story homes on Oahu that is worth saying out loud. Single-level living is a real value driver in this market. Properties without stairs are easier to live in long-term, easier to maintain, and they hold their resale value steadier through market cycles than multi-story homes of comparable size. They also photograph better and show better. So when you walk a home like this one and notice that everything, kitchen, living, both primary suites, the den, the outdoor space, is all on one level with no stairs between you and the marina, you are looking at a category of home that consistently commands a premium across this part of the island, especially in waterfront neighborhoods like this one. Two things buyers should know about this property specifically. First, the flood zone here is Zone AE, which is the FEMA designation for properties in the 1% annual chance floodplain near marina waters. It does not mean the property floods. It means flood insurance is required if you finance, and it is a real ongoing cost. For cash buyers who tend to dominate this neighborhood, flood insurance is not mandatory but still strongly recommended. Price it as part of due diligence. Second, the frontage is marina, and the listing describes the home as dock ready, with a boat dock proposal package available on request. Dock ready here means the frontage is set up to support adding a private boat dock, not that one is already built. Any new dock has to go through the Hawaii Kai Marina Community Association, which handles dock approvals and the associated fees separately from the neighborhood HOA. The Anchorage HOA itself runs only around $35 a month, one of the lowest waterfront access dues on this side of the island. The dock proposal package and the full improvements list are on file with the listing agents, and your buyer's agent can request them during due diligence. This home last changed hands in mid-2023, and what you're walking through today is the result of a comprehensive 2026 renovation. The bones are original from 1980, and the layout has been completely reworked. On the neighborhood itself, a bit more history is worth knowing. Kaiser, the man who dredged this whole marina, is the same Kaiser behind Kaiser Aluminum and Kaiser Permanente. He moved to Hawaii in his 70s and decided his next move was to turn a 500-acre Hawaiian fish pond into a master-planned residential marina. He was also famously obsessed with the color pink. His own Diamond Head home was painted pink. His employees wore pink shirts. He drove pink cars. Anchorage itself came later, in the late 1970s and early 1980s, well after Kaiser had passed. But the marina layout he carved out was already in place. Today, these homes sit on quarter-acre or smaller lots, almost all single-story, with the marina threading through the back of the community. It sits a few minutes from Costco, Safeway, Coco Marina Shopping Center, the post office, and the trailhead for Coco Head Crater. Quick fun fact on that hike. Those famous 1,048 steps you complain about and then secretly love are actually the wooden ties of a World War II military railway. The U.S. Army built it in 1942 to hold supplies up to lookout bunkers at the summit. The tram is long gone, the ties are still bolted into the slope, and that is what you're climbing. Quiet streets, calm water, slow afternoons. People who live in Anchorage tend to stay, which is exactly why the sales data looks the way it does. So here is where I want to land. If you are a buyer thinking about Anchorage or Hawaii Kai more broadly, this is one of only 2 homes on the market in the entire neighborhood right now, and the other is already under contract. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, about 2,150 square feet of interior living space, a complete 2026 renovation, asking around $3.15 million. Cash, conventional, and VA financing are all on the table. If you would like to see this home or any other home in person, request through the link in the description. One more thing before I sign off. If you are following the Hawaii Kai series this week, this is video 2 of 4. Coming up next is a 1941 vintage classic in Portlock with real old Hawaii bones and history. And we close the week with a fully renovated single-level home in Cocoa Head Terrace, a totally different price band and a totally different buyer story. I'm Oksana with Island Living Oahu. Subscribe and I will see you on the next one.